What's up, guys? Before we get to this, what's up, guys? Before we get to this movie review, actually a double movie review, I wanted to kick off something with a cool intro. Let me share my screen for a second, and then sorry about that. Okay, share screen. Yes, entire screen. This is actually my first time live streaming on my laptop instead of the iPad. I think I should do it on the laptop from now on. Okay, just wanted to make sure if it's sharing or not. All right, here we go. So that was my intro for today's movie review. I thought it'd be appropriate to, play the classic Johnny Quest intro because it's really cool and nostalgic. All right, so for a long time, Johnny Quest fans out there, you may have watched the original series from 1964 through 1965, like I did with my dad growing up. That was one of his all-time favorite Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and I strongly agree with him. It's still one of the coolest cartoons ever made. And so I recently ordered and rewatched these two underrated Johnny Quest animated films from the '90s that got released on Blu-ray last year. They were actually made for TV animated films, and they were broadcast again, I think, a few times on the Boomerang channel on the defunct Boomerang Theater block. Yeah, the Boomerang rebrand still may suck, but at least they still got to the Boomerang Theater. But the only problem for the channel is that they no longer play anything classic, which sucks. So, anyways, today's movie review is actually going to be a double movie review. First, we're going to talk about the first movie here, Johnny's Golden Quest, and the sequel, Johnny Quest versus the Cyber Insects. So Johnny's Golden Quest was released in 1993 and is a continuation of the original Johnny Quest animated series from 1964 through 1965 and the revival, The New Adventures of Johnny Quest from 1986 through 1987. I never watched it though, but I've always been a fan of the original series from 1964. And so what happens in Johnny's Golden Quest? The plot of it is that This is the return of a fan favorite villain from the original series, Dr. Zinn. He appeared in a couple of the episodes of the original series, such as Riddle of the Gold, The Robot Spy, and The Fraudulent Volcano. All the other Johnny Quest villains have died except for Dr. Zinn, is because Dr. Zinn is defeated most of the time, but he always gets away with it anyhow. But this is the first time that Dr. Quest and Dr. Zinn actually meet in person, because in the original series, Dr. Zinn was on a computer monitor, something like that. So, beginning of the movie, Johnny is breaking into a lab containing files on his father, Dr. Benton Quest, and then the bodyguard, Roger Race Bannon, appears. He attempts to stop Johnny, and it goes on a little chase here and there, and then Race zaps Johnny in the chest, and it's revealed that this is part of a training program set up by Race. So then, so Doctor Quest, Haji, and Johnny, along with Race Bannon, they head to Peru. Actually, before that, I wanted to talk about the relocation of Doctor Quest's house. So in the original series, Doctor Benton Quest lived on like a little remote island where his house is and all. He has like it's basically like a beach house. He's got his lab equipment inside since he's a scientist, and so it's never explained when they moved to Mex when they moved the headquarters to Mexico, but that's okay. They just wanted to try. That's okay. Hanna-Barbera just wanted to try a new location for Johnny Quest. That's okay. So at Quest headquarters, the Doctor Quest hears about some strange mutations happening in mutations happening in Peru. So the Quest team heads to Peru, and we are introduced to Johnny's mother, the biologist, Dr. Rachel Quest. Well, in the first episode of the original series, the pilot episode, "The Mystery of the Lizard Man," it said that it implied that Johnny lost his mother, but now she's finally revealed in this movie. So, and then Race Bannon's ex Flame, Jade Kenyon, shows up as well. It's a version of Jade is a reimagining of the original Jade, Jezebel Jade from the original series. She had short black hair, but that's okay. They changed her appearance a bit differently in the movie. She now has long red hair instead of black short hair as she did in the original series from 1964. So Johnny gets to bond with his mom for a little bit. She shows him these cool dolphin communicators they wear on their ears, and they allows them to communicate with dolphins. And then the weird mutated animals show up, and then meanwhile, both Dr. Benton Quest and his wife Rachel are abducted by these creatures, and are taken to none other than Dr. Zinn's laboratory in his lair. So, like I said before, this is the first time Dr. Quest and Dr. Zinn meet each other in person for the first time, because they never done it before in the original series, because Dr. Zinn was always on a monitor screen. So Dr. Zinn explains that he created these mutated animals, and he's planning to clone himself, just in case if he dies, is because his face now looks hideous to look at. His face was fine in the original series, but in this movie and the sequel with the cyber insects, Dr. Zinn's face looks hideous. There's like all these pores on his faces. It looks like he's about to die any day now or any second. So one of the clones takes off with Rachel, and well, for that, Johnny, Race, and Haji show up to the rescue. They attempt to save Doctor Quest and Rachel, but then Rachel is taken by one of the Doctor Zin clones, and Doctor Quest tries to kill and shoot Doctor Zin, but he can't. And so then the volcano goes off, which is his volcano goes off, and then it kills both the Doctor Zin clone and Rachel. And Johnny sees this in front of it with his two own eyes, and he becomes very upset and disappointed with his own dad for not shooting one of Doctor Zin's clones and letting Rachel die. So as these chain of events unfold, Johnny and Benton become you know a bit. Or just say that Johnny becomes a bit more angsty. As He wasn't really like this at all in the original series, but now in this movie, he has become a bit more angsty ever since he's witnessed his mother die in front of him, and he blames his own dad, Benton, Dr. Benton Quest, for not shooting Dr. Zin's clone, and then he starts, separating him. Actually, he starts, the relationship becomes a bit. The relationship for the first time starts to deteriorate as of because of this, and then Johnny seeks vengeance on Doctor Zin for killing his mom. So Haji goes off with Johnny to take his mind off of things, what happened with recent events. They go to a Day of the Dead festival, and then they meet this girl named Jessie who's being harassed by these two boys. Johnny intervenes and he tries to save her, and then they take off in a truck. So these two boys are after this mask Jade is looking at, and then the police apprehend Johnny and Haji. So, well, what they find about this mask is that this is no ordinary mask. This is a mask made out of 100% synthetic gold, and that this gold plays a big role in the rest of the movie and what Doctor Zin is up to. So Johnny and Haji are arrested, but they're bailed out when Dr. Quest and Race show up at the police station, and then they show it to the police. They agree that the mask is made out of synthetic gold, and Jessie says that her father is also a scientist, Dr. Devlin. He happens to be an alchemist too, but they need to they need to figure out what it has to do with Dr. Zin and his cloning process. And so what happens is that they start to trying to they start tracking down his latest locations around the world, Tokyo, and starting off in Tokyo, Japan. That's when Johnny gets to know about Jesse a bit more, and he starts hanging out with her. And Haji it's, Haji decides he wants to join in, but Doctor Quest says Jesse is the thing that Johnny needs right now, and he's correct since Jesse's a girl. So meanwhile in Japan, the creatures show up again. Those mutated creatures created by Doctor Zin, they show up again, but this time in Japan, and they see Jade. They run into Jade along the way, and the quest team believes that Jade is working for Doctor Zin. But we'll get back to Jade a little bit more later on. So after their adventure in Japan, they head off to Paris, France, and then Race tries to talk to Johnny about what it's like to hang out with the girl, or he was saying something like, taking to a horror movie because he said that the ghost will sneak up past you, something like that. That's what Ray said. And so Johnny and Jesse are attacked by another one of those creatures again in the hotel in Paris, France, and then after that they head off to Rome, Italy, and they are ambushed by construction worker. They're ambushed by Doctor Zin's thugs, hired thugs that they're posing as construction workers. And I like about this chase scene is that they during this chase scene they played the rendition of the classic Johnny Quest theme song, which I thought was a nice touch and a nostalgic callback to the original series there. And so then they learn a bit more about Doctor Devlin, and then they head underground in the catacombs, and they're confronted by Dr. Zin's assistant, a mutated creature named Snipe. Haji attacks him with some corpses in the catacombs in the underneath Rome, Italy, and so they find it Dr. Devlin, and it's revealed that Dr. Devlin is not Jesse's dad. It was all lies because well, before we get to the plot twist here, is that what happened with the gold is that Dr. Devlin wasn't is actually an employee of Dr. Zin, and he was helping Dr. Zin with this cloning process. And the source of it was the 100% synthetic gold, as I mentioned earlier. And this is why the gold is so important in this movie of the entire plot. Hence the name Johnny's Golden Quest. So it's revealed that Jesse's biological mother is Jade, and then that also means is that it's also revealed that Race Bannon is her biological father, in which Race is surprised to hear that Jesse is actually his daughter he never knew about. And so Dr. Zin captures Race Bannon. He wants to use Race Bannon's DNA to for one of his clones in the future, and then they go off to save Race. And well, leading up to this, Johnny has been practicing really hard at trying to get back at Doctor Zin, trying to learn all the flying tiger kick he learned from Race Bannon. And then, so as I mentioned before, they go off to the quest team goes off to save Race Bannon from Doctor Zin, and then Johnny is challenged with the same dilemma with his father faced earlier in the movie when Doctor Zin is about to kill Doctor Quest. He asked Johnny to shoot Doctor Zin, and Johnny said he can't shoot him. It's kind of reminiscent and similar to when Johnny tried to get his dad to shoot Doctor Zin before Rachel was killed. He couldn't do it, so the lab starts collapsing and all, and Doctor Zin tries to flee in a submarine, but he's trapped in there, left to die, and it's assumed that he was killed in the collapse of the lab and explosion and all. And Dr. Quest is scared for a second because he thought Johnny was taken in the explosion too, but everything's okay. Johnny survived because he can't die since he's the protagonist of the franchise. And so then and so Johnny apologizes for being harsh on his dad and saying everything was his fault for not killing Dr. Zin and saving Rachel's life, but the, they're the relationship is back to what it usually is now, and Reese said he's gonna go take a vacation with his family, his wife Jade and his daughter Jessie, but he promises he'll continue to do his job protecting Dr. Quest along with Johnny and Haji. And so then they go on a sea cruise vacation, and then it's revealed that oh, I forgot to mention that the final standoff with Doctor Zin the moments earlier was in the outbacks of Australia. And so then it's revealed that one of the test tubes, one of the Doctor Zin clones that survived, it rises from out of the water. And it's revealed that one of the Doctor Zin clones survived, which means that Doctor Zin never dies. So that was Johnny's Golden Quest. And now let's get to the sequel. Make it to the sequel. I just wanted to say, yeah, it was pretty it was really enjoyable in my opinion. I think it feels like an extended episode of the original series. The animation looks impressive and beautiful to look at. You can tell the animation is a giant step up from what it looked like back in 1964. But this movie was released in 1993, as I mentioned before, and it's a looks really cool to look at even to this day. That's why so many people who watched the movie praise the animation quality for looking good for its time in the early 90s. And so off to the sequel now, which came out 2 years later in 1995, Johnny Quest versus the Cyber Insects. Guest starring Tim Matheson, who voiced Johnny Quest in the original series. This time he's voicing a robot named Fordak, which is a successor to the female 3-DAC robot from Johnny's Golden Quest. So, the beginning of the movie here, Johnny and Haji are in South America with an indigenous tribe. I don't want to pronounce their name because I'm afraid I might butcher it, but I know they're an indigenous tribe, the way they are and all, and the way they act. So, Johnny and Haji out in the jungle in South America. They're going to steal this gem. Wait, was it a gem or a sacred stone? Let me see it real quick. Oh, that's right. It was a sacred sapphire that they were going to snatch. But what they find out is that this was actually a test to reach manhood, but Johnny and Haji accidentally fail the test. They have to try again another time, but they continue on with their day anyways. So what happens next is that so in outer space there's this mysterious satellite that all of a sudden it controls the weather, and then there's snow covers up the entire Earth. And Dr. Quest is unsure what's causing the strange weather, and he plans to investigate ASAP. And the commander of Intelligence One, the name of the agency that was from the original series, the commander named Commander Harris tells Dr. Quest and warns him what's happening around the world and how the strange weather is affecting everything and the economy and the food surplus and stuff and natural disasters too. And all the animals are seem to be scurrying off for some reason too, which Jesse points out. So at the Quest headquarters, they investigate what's happening around the world, like I mentioned before, and then a little spaceship comes from outer space, and out comes of it is a giant insect. And so Johnny learns this a couple of times about not always doing everything by yourself, but working as a team is the best way to cooperate with the people who love and care about you and that are around you and such. And Johnny is a bit hesitant. Is a Johnny? he's a bit, has a bit of a daredevilish persona when it comes to seeking out adventure for himself, even though it could be dangerous. So even though Johnny tries to take off by himself, Haji and Jesse follow along with him, and they're attacked by these insects. But they're not actually they're not usual insects, but they're genetically created cyber insects. But we'll get to later who created them and all. So after the attack by the insects, well, actually, Raceman and Haji are attacked by one of the insects as well, and the after Race kills one of them, they take a piece of the insect to the quest labs, and the research where it might have it came from, or they thinking it's man-made or something, because no other bug looks like that. So Dr. Quest heads to space in a space station. He's about to take off to a space station in outer space called Quest Station, where where many scientists live and work there, and they strongly support all of Dr. Quest's research there, here and there. And when Dr. Quest attempts to take off in the rocket, a swarm of ants tries to prevent Dr. Quest from taking off into space to get to Quest Station. And then Johnny remembers that the chief of that indigenous tribe from earlier in the movie, that he plays some sort of music that controls the fireflies. He had assumes that it would work on the ants too, to get them off the rocket. And so they play the music on loudspeakers, and it works on the ants. And then we go to space now in this headquarters, and it's revealed that it's Dr. Zinn again. And this time, Dr. Zinn is the one behind the strange weather and the his army of cyber insects. And he has three technicians that he treats like crap. There are 425, 426, 427. And so Dr. Zinn is disappointed by 425's failure of preventing Dr. Quest from going to space. So once you screw up, you get killed off, and the other person who's a number ahead of you gets promoted to work for Dr. Zinn until he turns on you, and then he has you killed off. So 425 fails miserably at trying to serve Dr. Zinn as one of his assistants. So Dr. Zinn is disappointed. So he has two insects fly and carry off 425 to be presumably killed off screen. And so the female 426 takes his place until later on. We'll get to what happens with her. And so Dr. Quest safely makes it to Quest Station, and he meets up with a female scientist, Dr. Eve Bellage. And then Dr. Zinn, he decides to bring his headquarters. He grabs a hold of the Quest Station and brings the Quest Station to Dr. Zinn's headquarters in space. And then Dr. Quest isn't too surprised. He probably would have known that Dr. Zinn is behind everything, of course, since that's his arch nemesis. And Dr. Zinn introduces to both of them his newly created army of cyber insects. But Dr. Eve Bellage questions him, why don't you use it for something more constructive? Dr. Zinn says he's just going to use the cyber insects to conquer the Earth, because that's what he wants to do, since it's the typical evil genius plan. So the rest of the Quest team is concerned about Dr. Quest's whereabouts since he left for Quest Station. But what happens is that Dr. Zinn has both Dr. Quest and Dr. Balaj taken hostage in his headquarters, and then 426 is dropped to her death after she informs Dr. Zinn if they what was it again? If they do something, that they'll give away their location or something. Hold on a sec. I apologize for the interruption. Oh, that's right. I just remembered. Doctor Zinn takes control of Fordak, and he hacks into his systems, and then Fordak is now taking orders from Doctor Zinn to carry out his cyber insect plan, conquer the Earth. So what it has what the weather thing has a connection to the cyber insects is that Doctor Zinn wants to weaken the Earth with his strange weather with the snowstorm and all, so he can have the cyber insects attack and take over. So then, what ends up getting 426 killed is that before she's dropped to her death after disobeying Doctor Zinn. So the quest team, Johnny, Jesse, Haji, and Ray Spannon, they take off in another space shuttle called the Quest 2 ship. And so they get ambushed by a couple of the bugs that they see the ship is coming for to Dr. Zinn's headquarters in space. But, Dr. Zinn he orders 426 and 427 to shoot at the ship because he sees it on the screen. But, uh, but 426 refuses, and she says that he'll give away the position. So Dr. Zinn's had enough of her, so he just drops her in a pit, probably to her death. And so 427 is promoted to take her place, and until further notice, until you'll see what happens to him later on, but we'll get to that part. So meanwhile, in space, the rest of Quest team is trying to rescue Dr. Quest and Dr. Balaj. They get, like I said, they get attacked by some bugs in space, and one of the bugs that damages the controls on the ship, and then Race almost dies, but he's okay. Don't worry, Race Bannon didn't die. He just he was about to die, but they saved his life. But he's okay now. But Johnny blames himself for almost getting Race killed during the attack. Then Jesse and Haji give him advice, a friendly reminder that a part of growing up is learning from your mistakes, and you can learn from these mistakes in the future. And so, meanwhile, back at Intelligence One headquarters, Commander Harris is notified by various foreign countries around the world is that they're surrendering to Doctor Zinn because they think he's too powerful and all, and Doctor Zinn declared himself Emperor of the Earth with his army of cyber insects going to take over the world and all. So, so the countries surrender, as I said before, and Dr. Quest and Dr. Balaj are still taken hostage, still waiting for the rescue to show up, the rescue party to show up, which is the rest of Quest team. And There's another big plot to that Doctor Zin is up to. He wants to create this he wants to recreate a prehistoric insect, which he refers to it as an assassinoid. And so then Dr. Quest before this, Dr. Quest has been wondering what's been happening with Fordak and all, because Johnny tried to contact Fordak, and Fordak hasn't been responding ever since. He's been taken over under Dr. Zin's control. So Dr. Quest and Dr. Balaj soon discover that what happened with Fordak, he's been taken under control, listening to Dr. Zin's future orders and helping all with the insects and all. And well, hold on a second. So Johnny uses his handy laptop to locate the location of Fordak, and there was a computer virus installed on Fordak as well, which that was installed by Dr. Zin to take control over him and take orders from him too. So Johnny finds a way to overpass the virus software, and Fordak was restored to normal. So the rest of the quest team makes it to the asteroid where Doctor Zin's headquarters is at, and Fordak has been damaged because he fell into a pit of ethanol. But once Johnny finds the remains of the Fordak robot, he takes the compartment out of it, and he puts the rest. He puts his memory inside of Johnny's laptop for now, and Fordak is okay. And so the team is ambushed by the assassinoids, which are actually more they're actually more harder to kill than the actual other cyber insects. So once they shoot off their limbs and stuff, they regenerate. Johnny freezes one of them, but the assassinoid shatters to pieces, made out of ice. But the ice evaporates into water, and then spawns three more assassinoid bugs. So about this cryogenic freezing thing, Dr. Zin does eventually kill 427, is the other remaining technician left. And he freezes him, and he shatters into icy chunks because he was enraged that Benton and Eve escaped. So he had enough of 427, like I said before. He froze him to death in a cryogenic cell in a tube, and then he just fell over, shattered to pieces, and he was killed. And then so about this, the info that was revealed by the assassinoid bugs were regenerating and all, that was said by Fordak when Johnny asked Fordak what would be the best way to kill all these insects, is that via nuclear explosion. But they actually keep one of the frozen larvae for now from the assassinate bugs, which is probably one of the offsprings. And so the Quest team eventually saves Dr. Quest and Dr. Balaj from Dr. Zin. Then the asteroid starts to explode. Dr. Zin attempts to flee, but it's presumed he died again, of course, but we'll get to the very end. It's all in the 6. So the Quest team successfully foiled the plans of Dr. Zin's world domination plan with the cyber insects. and then everybody leaves the asteroid up as it explodes. As they head back to the Quest headquarters back on Earth, and Johnny Haji reattempt the challenge again. After accidentally screwed up the beginning, but thanks to their heroic activity and bravery during the mission to stop Doctor Zinn and his cyber insects, they're declared they're now in adulthood, and they passed the test. But Johnny says Jesse is okay to join in since he's a girl. She's welcome to join them in this success successful test that they passed for the second. They passed it. It was a reattempt, like I said before, but this time they passed. And so back on the quest station, Dr. Balaj puts away the cryogenically frozen larvae of the assassinoid bug. She seals it away. Case is closed, and it's revealed that Dr. Zinn escaped in an escape pod in like another ship that he had somewhere in the asteroid where his headquarters were at. And so that was the very end. So that's the whole plot of Johnny Quest versus the Cyber Insects. It was a great follow up to the previous movie, in my opinion. It's pretty underrated though. But Jeffrey Tambor did a good job voicing Dr. Zinn. Guest star Tim Matheson did a good job voicing Fordak, and the rest of the voice cast did a great job voicing the familiar characters as well. People came to know and love of Johnny Quest. So that's my double movie review on both the underrated Johnny Quest made for TV animated films from the 90s. They're both worth they're both worth watching. They're both worth watching. They're both worth your time if you like Johnny Quest as much as I do. And hope you enjoyed the double movie review. This is Jake signing off. Before we end this live stream, let's end this on a high note with the outro here.